my dude. None of that means anything. Until you're using your voice, your white privilege, which is fed with a system of racism that has been in the United States since 1619, when the first slaves came to North America, and we're at 2020 right now. Until you're using your voice, until you're using your white privilege, we are making no change. I challenge each and every one of you to go back to your homes when this is all over, when you're behind your own doors, when you're with your friends, when you're going around, eat avocado toast, whatever y'all do. I'll be honest, I'm not gonna I want y'all, I challenge y'all to have hard and honest conversations with folks. I don't want you to take a knee and ask for our apologies or repentance. I want y'all to do that. I saw that the other day. That was crazy. I don't want y'all to go back.
Hey everyone, this is Jess Arnold talking behind the camera. You're coming in on the end of a protest that a group has led for the past few hours, marching from the White House to the Capitol. This is one of the organizers with a message to white people in particular. I'll let you listen in.
Honest conversations with them. Remember what you started in. Remember the voices of everybody you heard today. These are young people. We're not politicians. We don't work in Congress. We just care. Have those honest conversations with them.
He just said, have honest conversations with people. That is one of their requests of us as white people.
We have a Twitter, it's called Concerned of DC. We have an Instagram, it's Concerned Citizens DC.
So right now they're talking about their social media pages. It's not an official group, but they're going by the name Concerned Citizens just because they feel like that's something a lot of people can identify with. And so they have a place to post information about future protests on their Twitter, on their Instagram, at both as Concerned Citizens.
We're not done yet. Let's do this, man. Let's do this. Just as a reminder before we go, because I'm done. 2 o'clock tomorrow, Farragut Square. And also, guys, what I want you guys to be cognizant of, right, is I see a couple bottles and things discarded. I don't want them to say a bunch of black kids came to this Capitol, right, and just left it trash. So everybody make sure you're cleaning up behind yourselves. Clean up your bottles that you left. And let's keep the place how we found it, y'all.
All right, we're going to try and go talk to one of the organizers here.
Wait a minute. I know y'all see me carrying this flag. A lot of y'all don't even know what this flag is. This is the African American flag. This is my flag. And this is your flag too. Because all lives don't matter until Black lives matter. And let's not forget.
Hey, it's Ty, right? Hey, I'm Jess at Channel 9. We're on our Facebook Live. Do you mind if we ask you a few questions? Not at all. Awesome. Just looking for my teammate. Give me one sec. Somebody will step over here.
Yeah. I'm just going to grab my bag. I really respect everything you're doing out here. I appreciate you. As a white person, I'm just out here to
All right. So this is one of the organizers, Ty. We're going to talk to him in a sec. He has a pretty compelling story he shared with the group earlier. Up here. Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, Ty's just grabbing his stuff. He's going to come meet us over here. We'll make sure he does. So this group actually came up with a list of demands because they wanted there to be action out of these protests and say, hey, we have concrete steps we think everyone needs to take. Ty's kind of been in charge of that, so I want him to share his own personal story and then tell us about how they came up with that list of demands. So let's go try and grab him here. Grabbing a quick pic and then we'll grab him here.
Thank you.
So we spoke with another organizer who had a very compelling story. She actually was at Parkland when that shooting happened, is a survivor of that, and now has come to DC for college. She's a sophomore at Trinity. And that kind of fueled the beginning of her activism. And then when all of these events unfolded, she said she needs to make sure she's supporting her own community too, the black community in particular.
I love that. I got to run with them real quick, but I can give you my email. Yeah, give me your email real quick. Okay.
So they have been marching for a while. It's been a few hours. We had caught up with them as they were marching from the White House down 15th. And then they had come around. And one interesting thing that we hadn't really seen in as many protests before is they would stop at certain areas along the way and give the megaphone to different speakers, anyone who felt compelled to share their own personal stories. And we heard some very compelling ones. Thank you, Ty. Hey, I appreciate you talking to us. I'm Jess Arnold with Channel 9. So tell me a little bit about the organization of this and how you all came together to put this together.
Okay, so my name's Ty. I'm a native Washingtonian, born and raised here in the city. When the protests and things first came to the city, I had to go as an observer just to see sort of what was coming to Washington, D.C. As I got down to these protests, what I saw was that there were a lot of young people that have this energy, right? This desire to really shake up America at its foundation and change it so that we don't have to come out here and protest like this, right? But it lacked a lot of direction. And unconcentrated energy yields no results. And so the concerned citizens came about just as a result of a couple of us feeling the same way, that maybe we would be better suited concentrating our energy on some effective policy outcomes that act as the accountability mechanism for these police so that they're not, going and doing these killings anymore. I mean, ultimately, I understand the rage of people who fear that they or their loved ones could be next. But we have to take the steps towards substantive policy that will ultimately hold these officers accountable, because up until this point, what the reality has been is that if you are an officer that kills somebody that looks like me, at the worst, is paid death duty. And so anything less than that during normal policing, a young lady did a testimony about how a young man that she knows was paralyzed, and so while he's not dead, his life is forever changed. That is as effect of the over-police state that exists in America. And so that's why we're out here, really just with some substantive policy demands about how to change that up and put the power back in the people's hands.
And you came up with a list of 10 demands, right?
We did.
Can you share some of those with us?
Yeah, so one of the demands is a civilian review board. Things like holding them accountable, like I spoke to. Another thing is defunding a superfunded Metropolitan Police Department in favor of violence interrupters, things that we've seen work in our local ecosystem, right? DC statehood as a huge ask, all right now, because there are over 702,000 Washingtonians here who get taxed without representation, the highest federal taxes, all of the same obligations, none of the rights. And we saw that play out the other day when Donald Trump deployed military police against peaceful protests in the middle of a press corps. It was recorded. No revisionist history can happen. There were cameras live, right? We saw that. That was only allowed to happen in a majority-minority city because we are a city and not a state. And so in order to effectively empower the communities in D.C. to be able to have the autonomy that the rest of the United States is enjoying, D.C. statehood was one of those asks. Another one of those asks was decriminalizing marijuana and retroactively vacating the sentences of those that were convicted for marijuana. The idea being that all too often in these situations, what happens is they say he had a trace of marijuana or they found marijuana, and it's like that narrative in and of itself is a tired narrative. And a non-violent vice is no reason that black and brown people should be getting brutalized across this nation. And so that's really some of the asks. There'll be a more exhaustive list of those asks on our Instagram page, which is Concerned Citizens DC, and on our Twitter page, Concerned of DC.
And the last one I saw in that initial list of 10 seemed pretty poignant. It talked about empathy. Can you tell me a little bit about that one?
I think that really we are in a fight for the identity of America, right? But this is a chance for those who have not historically guided to lend themselves to that spirit of empathy and compassion, and to try to understand the fear that we feel, the reasons that why, like I said, amidst what was a hot day earlier, amidst a pandemic, so many people chose to assemble where they could have otherwise been other places. I just want people to really see that we're here, we exist. I talked about all of the things that I've done in my life, right, and how hard I've worked, and how that doesn't matter if I have on a hoodie in the wrong neighborhood, right, and that's something that can change. We can fix that. We have all the power to fix that, and it's my hope that together we will.
We were listening to you speak to the entire crowd earlier, which extended down the lawn here, and you mentioned it yourself, alluded to it, your own personal story. You've had a lot of accomplishments at a very young age. Can you take us through your own personal story and then share a little bit of what you were earlier?
Yeah, so Born and raised in DC, like I said, graduated high school at 13, went to Howard University, shout out HU. Went to Howard University, ended up transferring from Howard University, got my bachelor's from the University of Baltimore at 15. And then I went on to get my master's residentially at Liberty University, the hotbed of conservative activism, right? The idea being that DC is where I'm from, it's a pretty liberal pocket. I wanted to see the other side of the political spectrum so I could see what, if anything, can be done to heal the divide. I mean, ultimately there are people that are stuck in their ways that will have sentiments that reflect poorly on people that look like me for the rest of their lives, right? But to the extent that there is some access point, I went down to Liberty University in exploration of that. And I think that I found some pretty decent answers. So in the time since, worked for Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016. I was in Erie, Pennsylvania. I do statehood advocacy with 51 for 51. Just really fighting to, like I said, empower Washingtonians to make the decisions for ourselves, to have representation in this building right here.
Oh my God!
Just somebody that's trying to add value to this America, make it one that my kids can grow up comfortably in, and one that everyone's kids can grow up comfortably in. Because in 2020, we have the skills, we have the understanding, we have the resourcefulness to make that a reality for everyone.
And I know this was your friend and a co-organizer that was talking a lot, but at each stop, I remember he was saying he wanted to address white people in particular and make sure that there's a message to them, especially because it's been such a diverse crowd that's been coming out to support all of you. So, what can we do? What are you asking of people who aren't part of the Black community but want to support you all? What can they do?
So, he made a poignant point earlier, which is that white silence equates to violence, especially in a world where your privilege is actionable. I mean, I've seen too many times where a white protester standing in front of a police officer is the difference between them being in central booking or beat up on the ground or whatever the case may be. It's that level of agency. Being an ally is not just taking a knee for the symbolism, it's not posting a blackout picture for the day, it's existing in this space, understanding that I face inequity every day and trying to fight that as aggressively as I am from whatever station you have. And that looks like different things. And like I said, there is no one sort of solution or fix-all for racism, for white supremacy, for these institutions that are unjust, right? That's centuries of work that we're gonna have some centuries of work to undo. But I think just having that self-accountability, right? Just leaning in with us, and then also holding those in your close personal circle accountable as well. I think that will go a long way since it's a progress.
And so, where are these demands going? Are you delivering them to particular lawmakers? What's the plan?
So the idea right now is, and what we're pushing is that we're just concerned citizens, right? Concerned citizens should first try to activate their local ecosystem. So our asks are now of the executive office of the mayor here in Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, and the Metropolitan Police Department. It's a locally scaled intervention in the face of an oppressive police state. It's a conversation that we want to level here locally to run as a pilot for the rest of the nation. Seattle got paper straws, and everybody else progressive was like, we want to do paper straws. We kind of want to lead the way in terms of really just reformative justice, right, and really healing that divide that exists between the institution of policing and communities of color.
That's great. Anything else that you want to share with everyone here?
I think I shouted out to Instagram and Twitter and stuff, right? Go vote, absolutely go vote. This is pivotal election year. I mean, we're looking at a seismic impact of this election year because of potential Supreme Court seats coming up, which have a bearing on women's reproductive rights, any number of issues, right? All the issues that we care about. So go vote. And then U.S. Census. Definitely just get out there, get counted, get your community resourced.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing with us, and I hope you stay safe the rest of the time. And you guys are doing another protest tomorrow, correct?
Yes, tomorrow, 2 o'clock, Farragut Square.
Great. Is that a die-in? Is that what I had heard it's going to be? Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. Appreciate you. So it looks like the crowd's cleared out a bit. Let's see if we can check out any of the signs that are left. This one, under someone's arm. You can kind of see. I think it says, "I love you, black man." Let's see if she wants to share a little bit. Hi there, how are you?
Good.
Hey, doing fine. We're on our Facebook Live and just talking to some of the people that are still lingering after this. Were you walking all the way with them earlier?
Yes, my feet
Wow.
hurt.
Oh, I can
It was
imagine.
worth it, but my feet hurt.
And so how far did you walk? Because you walked from the White House and back, right? Do you know?
I actually have an app that was
You were checking it?
Yeah, it's my little workout too. I started about half a mile in. So we walked a little under 2 miles.
Okay, wow. And can you tell me a little about the signs that you have here? I was noticing it under your arm.
So this one, I love you, black man. Just every black man I saw walking the streets, I just kind of flashed my sign, waved, gave a smile, just to let them know that, we're here, we're doing this, not just for y'all, but for the entire black community. So that's what that sign was for. And then how many weren't filmed. Obviously, tensions have risen because of all the police brutality videos that have surfaced online that have been filmed. But if a number of them have been filmed and it's so high, how many have not been filmed? How many have we not seen? How many do we not know about? So that's what that second sign was about.
That's great. And I was talking to a couple siblings who had organized another protest I think it was over the weekend on Sunday, and that's one of the things she had mentioned, just how striking it was and traumatizing to see on film the interaction between the police officer and those people who were filming. Talk about that aspect of it being filmed versus those whose stories haven't been shared as publicly as George Floyd's.
So luckily, a lot of them have been filmed because obviously we wouldn't know that these things were happening, and they're hard conversations to have. They're hard videos to watch, but they've been filmed, so we know that these things are happening. Now we know that these are things that we need to bring up. These are things that we need to march about. These are things that we need to have those hard conversations about. So that's the upside of those being filmed. The downside, their families have to live with these videos forever. We have to look back on these videos and see them and think, wow, like this is what we're going through. This is what America has come to. So there's definitely a good side and a bad side to things. But yeah, I'm glad that we're here because of those videos, because we're talking about these things, we're igniting these conversations, and we're sparking the change as you saw out here today. So,
and we heard a lot of compelling stories as we were walking, and everyone would pause and have some of them come up and share on the megaphone. Do you have any story of your own personal connection that you've been thinking about as you've been marching all the way here?
No, I actually don't really have a personal connection to this, and I realized recently when these conversations came back up again after the George Floyd killing, I realized that this is affecting me and my community personally, and I'm so naive to these things. I failed to educate myself. So my purpose for being out here is I feel like I need to educate myself. I need to start speaking up for my people, and I need to stop putting these things on the back burner, because these are important issues to the black community. And although they're not directly affecting me, they're affecting my people. So that's why I'm out here.
So you feel like you've kind of been disconnected from some of the issues we've heard?
Absolutely.
Wow, how so?
I'm one of those people who just doesn't really deal with having those tough conversations very well. So I think, okay, maybe if I avoid those tough conversations, then things will just go away. And as the years go on and as more of these killings are happening, I'm realizing these things are not going away. Just because I'm ignoring it doesn't mean it's not happening. So do I want to continue to ignore it and not help the cause, or do I want to be out here supporting my people, helping the cause?
That's great. And did you end up learning anything today when you were listening to some of those speeches and marching alongside the group?
I did, actually. I'm not sure if you heard the young black mother talking about her 2 young children that were out here with her. But for me, it's just alarming. As someone who wants to have children, it's alarming to me that a young black mother like that, she fears for her children's life every day. Her children are driving and there's a police officer behind them and they're scared. Her son wants to go out for a jog, to work out, and she's scared. And I don't think that anyone should have their children leave the house and think, okay, my kids aren't coming back, let me hug and kiss my children just in case they don't come back. No one should have to live like that. So that was something that was very eye-opening for me, was hearing that mother speak.
So after this now, they're talking about action and they have their list of demands, and that's what a lot of people have been asking about. What are the next steps? For you, what are you going to do in your own life to try to forward the cause?
I'm going to continue to come out here. I'm going to continue to educate myself. I actually brought a friend out here with me, and she's the same as me. We're ignoring these issues, and we don't need to ignore them. We need to face these issues head on, and we need to be the solution to the problem. So I think just us continuing to come out here, continuing to bring other people out here, I think that's definitely something that we can do to help the cause. And I also want to say I'm so proud of these young people, because I'm 22, and what I was doing at 17, 18, 19, I wasn't doing any of this. I wasn't doing anything like this. I wasn't organizing whole peaceful protests, filling up the Capitol, filling up the front of the White House. Like, this is amazing to me that these are young people making this change. it's just so amazing to me because what was I doing at 17? I wasn't doing this.
Never too late.
Yeah, never too late. But that's just so amazing to me that these are a group of teenagers who are able to come out here, speak their piece, and make change like this. And if a couple teenagers can do this, just imagine what we can all do if we come together with these teenagers, with everyone. If we can come together, like this would be so powerful. This was already powerful, but just these 2 or 3 people, if they can make a change like this, just imagine what we can do together.
Well said. And are you staying here or are you going to head home?
Yeah, I'll probably stick around for a little bit longer. They raised the curfew from 7 to 11, so we'll probably stick around a little bit longer, see if we can catch anyone else marching, see if we can catch other people speaking, and we'll join in on them.
Great. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. And your name?
Antoinette Van.
Antoinette Van. Thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
so nice to meet you.
You too. Y'all have a
Take
good
care.
one.
Yeah, you too. Oh, wow. Looks like there's a conversation going on between police officers and some of the people who came out here. Let's try and get a better look.
From the age where these kids can be out here walking to the age where you're senile and about to go to a hospital, about to give your last breath.
I have to go back home because I understand that when I'm racism is so much deeper than I'm just a black, I'm some other black dude. Just like I become brother saying, I have three sons. From 16 to 2. And I have a 14-year-old daughter. And
Yeah,
No, it's I like the attitude, you know what I'm saying? But what I was saying is that it's not like, you know, that you guys are bad, all of you are bad, right? What I'm saying is that you guys are bad, you know, to your
I don't know if you can hear because I'm trying to just let you guys hear in naturally, but this police officer is talking about his own children.
right? And you know, one of you
Can tell he's emotional.
is like that, you know what I mean, right? Something about it.
yeah, but what you don't, even the chief in Minnesota, the guy, do you understand that he sued his own department years ago for being racist? So you can't say that they are not doing anything. They may be doing something behind the scenes.
That was not designed for them to win, but yet they took a stand. And yet they served. I served my country. Okay, I enlisted in 2001 and 2005. I served my entire life. I served my country because I understood.
Then they're going to kill him.
And I served my country.
I'm even serious right now. Because all that black
Wear
people
this
talking.
uniform that don't deserve it. Okay, period, done.
I think our understanding of what we get from the police is that what a police is such a bad history of what they do, how could you specifically go and say you want to serve our country? Like, I understand, like that's what you learn, that's what you told, so that's what you do.
It's not what I learned, it's not what I told you. I'm 39 years old. Where do we go? Everyone says don't serve this. As black, we are a people that were strict in that country. We don't know our language. We don't know what tribes we're from. And even if you did go back, where do you go? Where do you go? Legitimately.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
I'm going to try and get a better vantage point for you guys to hear here.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You don't want to touch me.
It's fine. At this point, girl, we've touched.
I'm okay with 2 weeks off.
Thank you.
This country, the ones that really represent this country have way different power than we have. We have very little minimum power. What power that the little power that we
You have a
do
lot of
have.
power. One man, because of one man's death, that nobody knew. Nobody knew George Floyd.
That's true.
Nobody knew that man.
But that's not what our power. That's the power of mass media.
Hold on, let me finish. That one man, listen, Joe Madison said the difference between a moment and a movement is sacrifice. That's the difference. Because anybody can go on social media and tweet you, okay? But it takes more to sacrifice. That one man, even though he should not have had to sacrifice it, that had no business happening to that man. And it infuriates me inside when I think about it. That's not police.
That's not.
That's not police. That's not his job. But that one man's unfortunate sacrifice sparked a movement
But it's not
from
just
hold on,
one
dude, hold on.
man. This
But
is not one
I
man
understand.
doing
I
it.
understand
This is a
that.
history
You're
of
right.
beating
But
us down.
if you would allow me
But
to
like,
finish, if you just allow me to finish,
but every force
if you
is
just allow me to finish,
interconnected.
you're right. But Emmett Till was one young man. But people before him was under subjugation. But something about that young man's life sparked a movement. This man's life has sparked a movement from LA to London. Nobody knew this man 2 weeks ago. Okay? Nobody knew this man 2 weeks ago. So don't say that you're not a change maker.
These movements aren't for George Floyd.
My question for you is, what are you doing as a police officer?
What I'm doing as a
black man with that badge on? What are you doing to change this?
What I'm doing is that I realize that in police departments across the nation, across the world, there are racists in those police departments. And like I told this young lady, if you think you can change something from outside, you're not gonna make anything happen. This country, did not want us, but yet there were people who fought anyway. And now we got spaces, and a man just 4 years ago was in that White House that wasn't designed for him. You have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. As a black man in this uniform, I make sure that when I'm dealing with black and brown people, I treat, even if they committed a crime, they're still human beings. They're still entitled to a level of respect. If I have to take someone's freedom because they committed a crime, that doesn't give me the authority to take their life. By no stretches of the imagination. If this job is 80% verbal, 20% physical, if I can't talk to you and get you to comply or to at least bring down the level where we can get an understanding of one another, there's a problem. There's a problem. That 20% where I have to get physical, it should be in an extreme cases, But the problem is that you do have some that think it's 80% physical and 20% verbal. You know what? If I pull you over and I just simply treat you with common decency, you're more likely to comply with me than if I come up here and just tell you, what do you think you're doing? What was you doing? And I make you feel less than you are a grown woman. It's not my place to make you feel like a child. You're not a child. But it's in how we deal with each other. You have officers across the country who've never even dealt with black people. That's not their experience. So if I quit, and now all the police departments are white, how does that help anybody? It doesn't. So, like I told her, I'm a father of a 16-year-old male, a 14-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old male, and a 2-year-old son. It matters. It does matter. And like I told her, I was black before this. When I'm off duty, I'm black. But not only am I black, I'm black with this on my hip with a t-shirt over it, and I'm driving. When I get pulled over and I'm a cop, I have to let that other cop know, hey, look, guys, I got a weapon on me and my wallet's back here. Is it okay if I reach for it? And I am the police, and I'm black, and I say that because I know I'm black. I know I'm black before I'm anything else. I'm gonna be black after this job. Just because, listen, I'm not gonna say all police are good. I'm not even gonna say the cliche, most police are good. You don't know whether police is good until you deal with them. Period, done. But I'm not that. And I have many brothers standing next to me that are not that. And we do what we do because in spite of what you do, we understand that nobody should lose their life for a petty crime. You out here being an active shooter and you're actively shooting people, then okay, that's a different story. But you write a bad check and you're dead from a bad check? Really? Come on.
How do you put?
Wait, you aren't most police. What can you possibly do about the people who are not here? Because we understand that you might be saying that you are a great person, and that is fantastic to
It's-
hear.
it's-
But there are so many people who don't look like you that are on that force.
You guys are doing it. You guys are doing it.
But what are you doing? Just 'cause
I am
you
being,
do it,
I am being an example. I'm being an example, and I can tell you about this man right here. If I see it's wrong, I will see it, and I do.
So you have with fellow
And I
cops
do.
that- have you ever seen fellow cops that you
I have seen things about to go down the wrong street and said, "Yo, man, let me talk to him," and pull them off before it gets to that.
Yeah,
point.
but do
They
you
always
tell
allow
them?
you to.
Do you go to your boss and do you say, hey,
If-
this is what,
if-
or is that
if-
blue badge of protection?
No, it's not about a protection. If I talk to that individual, listen, as a cop, I still have the same emotions as you do, okay? And sometimes you can have a dialogue with an individual where if you're not having a good day, you might be in a different place. And I'm not
Racism
saying,
is not
hold
a
on.
bad day.
Hold on.
Racism is not a bad day. You don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a racist. So by you guys, I'm so sorry. Let me get this out. By you guys simply pulling them to the side, having a talk, when you're not around, they're going to do the same exact thing. And then they're going to do it worse. Then they're killing us. Then they're hurting us. I understand what you're saying. Great, you should pull them to the side. There should be dialogue. There should be dialogue to a higher power. You should go to your boss and you should say, I saw this. It's not a bad day. Racism is not a bad day.
I agree. I agree.
can't police each other if y'all protecting
And I'll tell you this. I accept what you're saying. I accept what you're saying. Because in my stride, every day before I leave, because I don't know whether I'm going to see my wife and kids when I come home, I pray and ask to be a better man than I was. That perspective is legit. So now I have to reflect that even if I'm trying to do good, there's better than I can do. And I accept what you're saying. And I'm not going to try to make an excuse for what you just said, because that's legit. Like I said, my heart works with you guys because I've been this since the day I came out of mom. Okay? So I see it. And like I said, I got 3 little black boys and a little black girl. And I get it. I legitimately get it. And I'm proud of each and every one of you guys. A lot of you guys will say y'all are college graduates. Man, keep walking. Keep marching. Don't stop. Do it for me. Do it because right now I'm here and I can't do what you're doing. But understand, my heart is over here with you guys. 100%.
Have you ever been able to go to a higher up and then not?
But where the fuck were y'all when I got locked up?
I haven't personally been put in a situation where I have felt like I have needed to do something like that, so I could not honestly answer that question to you. I have not personally been put in that particular position.
So what do we do as citizens to make sure that those precincts or those departments that don't have standards that require a buddy system when someone is breaking or using excessive force or racial profiling, like what do we do to make sure that the standards are met?
So I'm gonna break it down to you like this. Most police departments have a chief, and that chief is accountable to its county executive or whoever or whatever the county executive or commissioner's name is. Okay. It's not just the police you gotta hold. It's your county council you gotta hold responsible. Because understand this, police cannot enforce laws that the council doesn't set. Okay. Take for instance, let's say jaywalking. Okay. Let's say in your community, jaywalking is a huge issue. People be getting hit by cars all the time because they jaywalk. But in someone else's community, it's not a big issue. But someone jaywalks and now they're arrested. Okay, let's say they don't even get hurt, they're arrested. It does hurt an issue because now they have a record. And if you're a young black man, that record is just as bad as getting punched in the face. So you have to hold your county council accountable too, because the laws that they pass give an avenue for it. You see what I'm saying? Good.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. All right. I'm climbing out from behind there. That was we wanted to just let you hear that conversation because we saw a few people sitting there who were at that protest earlier talking to some of the officers here. Now that was a Capitol Police officer. They weren't agreeing on a lot of things, but they were having a conversation just about what he could do as an officer, as a black officer, when he sees something wrong. And he said he would speak up when he saw that. And they're hoping, I gathered from the conversation that I could hear, that they could get a little bit more out of him And that's what it looks like is going on over here. So while this dialogue was happening, we're going to show you that another group has showed up, and they're talking directly to the police too. What they shouted when they first got here was, "Who do you protect?" And that kind of echoes the sentiment that right next door is happening between two individuals. I'm going to try to find out where this group came from. Hey there. Where'd you guys come from? Were you walking from the White House or something?
No, just my apartment.
Oh, okay. Was this a scheduled?
We have no
Okay.
idea.
No worries. Just because we turned around and there were way more people here than we were. Thank you. So still don't know where this group came from, but I don't believe they're affiliated with the previous group who were dispersed for the night. But it's a sizable group. Probably a couple hundred here. A lot of folks taking a knee in front of these Capitol Police officers standing guard here at the U.S. Capitol. Go take a look here. Some of the signs we got. See the makeup of the people who are here. So probably in the last 15, 20 minutes, this new group came over here. Gonna ask around, see where they may have come from. Hey there. Good question. Did you guys walk here from somewhere, or was this in Hampton? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So you're part of the previous group that was here? Okay, great. We're just trying to figure out exactly who this group might be affiliated with that came here. But what's going through your head watching this interaction?
That people need to be participating in it, be here for it, actually, actively being here for it, staying awake, saying what needs to be said, everyone needs to be listening to that.
What needs to be said?
Everyone's rights need to be seen. Everyone needs to be seen as a person.
And it looks like everyone's, talking directly to the Capitol Police officers that are up there. What's your direct message to them? Have you been sharing that when you're here?
It's bigger than just them. It's a message for everybody. From citizen to citizen, from the people who work in the government, everyone needs to be seen as equal, everyone needs to be treated as such. And once that starts happening, then we can all move forward.
Gotcha. And what was your biggest takeaway from today? Because you were with the group that had that list of demands, correct? So what are you pushing for action-wise moving forward?
Action-wise, the community review boards, the citizens reviews. I believe that's one of the best ways to go about it. So everyone needs to be held accountable for their actions and to have their names visible.
What's your name? Victoria. Thank you for talking to me. Appreciate you.
Black Lives Matter!
We need to take the TBU back.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Just taking a look here, see what's going on.
Y'all need some water too while you're Camera lady, I'm sorry.
Someone's handing out water, just gave us some. Very nice of them.
Black Lives Matter!
Just letting you all take a look here. Right now, some silence as people are sitting, kneeling in front of a line of Capitol Police officers here.
This is what democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
Looks like some people are leaving. It's still a sizable crowd here, just less than 3 hours out from the curfew tonight.
Police! Police! No justice! No peace! No racist! Police! No justice! No peace! No racist! Police!
Let's see if we can talk to someone else who's here. Hey. Hey, how are you? Good. Jess with Channel 9 just came over, saw your sign, and wanted to talk to you a little bit about what you're doing out here. What's your message?
Well, I'm just here trying to support the cause with everything going on. I believe that police have been abusing their power lately, and now it's time to have everything just come to light, and hopefully we can fight and get some new laws in place that will give all of us some, peace of mind or just some faith in the police for once, because we've been disappointed lately. That's why everyone's out here.
Yeah, and y'all are facing a line of Capitol Police officers here.
Yeah, correct.
Is that the purpose, to try to talk directly to them? Are you hoping to spur a dialogue?
Yeah, hopefully we could get them to say something back, but lately it's just been like, they just been mute, so maybe they probably, deep down I feel like they all believe they know they're wrong, but maybe they just aren't allowed to speak up. Their captain's up there, who knows?
And did you just come here? Were you at the White House earlier?
No, I just got here today, but I've been here the past 4 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've been here every day just trying to protest. Yeah.
Wow. Have you been out past curfew and seen any of that?
Like the past 2 nights I was, a little bit out just for, just to see what everything was going on.
Right.
They had the military out here. And,
yeah, it's later tonight though. It's till 11. Yesterday it was 7 o'clock. Do you think you'll be out late tonight too?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, not sure yet.
And you mentioned the military police. You're talking about defunding police and defend Black life. So when you see military police stationed out here, as well as the police officers you would typically see, DC police, Capitol Police, what goes through your head as you're marching by them?
I just feel like they brought like super protection, it's kind of a message it kind of lets us know that they are a little bit intimidated by us. So we do kind of have, a little bit of power in the situation, it lets us know that they are hearing us just because of the fact that they, amped up their protection.
And what action do you hope comes out of this? Because you've been out here 4 days, so clearly it's a cause you're really passionate about.
Yeah, I just think all 4 officers should be charged with at least second-degree murder. That would give me some peace.
So charged higher than some of them were. Gotcha.
And then, some new rules for the police officer, of course. Some new rules and regulations for them to have to follow, and just equality overall. Equality.
Thanks for sharing with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Let's give you a look at the crowd here.